Hey, good morning, people. How's that pre-sunrise sky and sea behind me? Isn't it awesome? What a fantastic day to be alive today. It's Friday and we're doing our devotions from the beach. We're talking about Abraham and the tests that God took him through to fine-tune him to become the man that God wanted him to be, a man who was known as the man of faith. And indeed he was. We've spoken about some of the blunders that he made along the way, but Abraham was declared righteous because of his faith in God. We read chapter 22 of Genesis, and this has to be one of the most dramatic scenes in the Bible. God is going to put Abraham through just the most incredible test. He comes to Abraham and he says to Abraham, I want you to take your son. Isaac has now been born and he's a young man. And God said, I want you to walk for 3 days to a mountain that I will show you. I want you to climb that mountain, I want you to build an altar, and I want you to make a sacrifice. Can you do that? And Abraham said, yep, I reckon I can do that. And then God said, but here's the challenge. I want you to use your son as the sacrifice. And Abraham did exactly what God had said, not a blink of an eye, just a blind obedience to God, and said, I don't understand. You promised me a nation, you promised me that this child would be the product of just be the forerunner of a great nation, and I don't understand. But he took his son, walked for 3 days, built an altar on the mountain God showed him, and he laid his son upon the altar. And he took a knife and he was just about to thrust it through his son's heart to kill him, when the angel suddenly stopped him and said, stop, Abram, you do not have to do this, you have passed the test. And Abram, in my thinking, would have said, well, what was the test? What was the test that had to make me take the most precious thing I'd had, a son who I had just invested in, a son who I just treasured? He was the apple of my eye. What, angel, was the test? And the angel would have said, the test that you have just passed is the test of God now knows who's first. You see, God will not settle for second place in your life. God wants to be first. And he will continually take us through tests to test who's first in our lives. Now, the story of Abraham is a remarkable story of how he, with great faith and great tenacity and there's just a sense of intention to please God in everything that he did, God declared him, that was good. That was good, Abraham. You passed the test. You see, you could fail a few of the other ones, that's okay. But if you pass this test, then in God's eyes, that is something incredibly significant. And it was on this mountain that Abram was able to call God Jehovah Jireh, because that was the name he gave to God, simply because when he had taken the knife out of his hand and taken his kid off the altar, he looked behind and he saw a ram in the thicket, and he said, man, God has provided a sacrifice for us, and he gave to God the name Jehovah Jireh. In the series we've just done, we did that name. And Jehovah Jireh simply means the God who provides for those who are on the mountain. For those who are declaring that God is first in their lives, who are demonstrating the priority of God being number one in their lives, God is Jehovah Jireh. So today, it's a good day for me to ask you, how's it going with God? Who's first in your life? If there's anything else in your life that is bigger than God, I hate to tell you, it's idolatry. And that's idolatry. God says, I have to be number one. He will not settle for second place. So you can have the church. The church is great. You can have the Bible. The Bible is awesome. The Bible is not God. The Bible is a fantastic book that God has given. God has to be number one. And I hope today that you will be inspired like Abraham to make God number one in your life. And it's a great story, and it's a good day. So people, let's go save the world. Have a fantastic weekend. See you on Monday.